5 minutes. You can leave it now on.
Yeah, but and the audio?
Audio is working here. It works very well.
It is already done.
Everything is done.
Okay, and zoom with this one or what?
No, you don't. If you want to zoom, you can zoom here, wide or tele. If you push it, then it comes.
And never film the audio? So
She will do it. Huh?
I want to make sure which one to start, where to start.
Here. This is now green, it's stop. And if you put it on, it's red. You see? Now it's recording. If you push, then it's green. Pause. Okay.
Hüseyin, we're not bringing food inside.
Huh?
We're not bringing food inside.
No. Mr. Lechenbao.
Yes.
We should not have food here. No food inside.
Sorry?
No food inside.
No, this is just tea.
Yeah.
Just tea.
Just tea.
Just tea.
No food. Just
Yes,
tea.
the water. No food.
It is as it is.
我们不要水果，现在我们也就水，他这个是水果就是水分。
He's showing us how a Chinese make a seminar. Tea, cookies.
差不多才最高的那个，你们才最高的，我其实还可以。
小王，你是不是要给他录像啊？是的。那你能坐在那吗？他坐那边，那个。哦，好的。
要我坐上面吗？
不用，那个。
I just translated it, you know.
好像看不太清。
后面的，对呀，那点吗？
可能我视力不太好。
要不要往前移？
不要太近了。
I will ask Mr. Lechenbao and 2 persons who are here from the very beginning, who know the history.
给你，过英皇600颗陈艾丁。
One woman,
One woman.
Susan.
周军。
Susan. I will ask her directly so that we don't lose time.
啊，
Susan,
陈
Mr.
艾丁。
Lechenbao.
陈艾丁。
Maybe one. Do we have one?
Manager. Manager.
You know what you can do later when they talk? You can put it. No, maybe it's difficult. She will take that. You're right. But we can cut it later. No problem. Miss Susan, she here? Can I ask you to come into the seat? Welcome. I think we have 2 more minutes to go, right? Shish. Okay, welcome. I would like to I would like to talk to you about organizational development. So these group relations programs, the week here, the 4 days is part of it. And I would like to put this in a wider context, and then we can discuss. And I also asked Mr. Lei Qimbao to help me later on, because he was very much involved in it since 2006.
End of 2006.
End of 2006. Ms. Jujin was from the very beginning, 2004 even, involved. And you came...
Miss Zhongmin.
In 2010.
10, so it fits. So,
Later.
okay. What I want to talk is I don't know, some of you maybe remember last year Mr. Dr. Scher was talking about social technical systems, organization as the social technical system. So the question is always, what kind of organization do you have in your mind, in your head? You know, is it a technical? Do you say an organization is like a machine? It's like a washing machine maybe, or like a water boiler, compiler. This is our organization, functions, steering, etc. Or is it an organization like a social system or a biological system, or like a body? This could be the head, the legs, etc., etc. So it depends what kind of organization you have in your mind. And then, depending on this, your leadership, your intervention into the organization will be very similar to the point you have it in your mind. For example, if you think organization is a technical machine, you just switch off something, you just exchange a button or whatever because it's broken, then you will discover it has an impact. Maybe it works, maybe it will not work. If you think an organization is a social system, then you can see that it's a difference. It makes a difference. It's not so easy to exchange just a button or to push a button and say, okay, now I want to improve motivation. You see, nothing happens. Maybe it becomes even worse. So therefore, when we work, or the underlying concept of this group relations work is, or as we work as consultants, is that we always have in mind that an organization is a socio-technical system. Means it has two subsystems. It has a technical subsystem and a social subsystem. And they are very much interrelated. These are the arrows. One influences the other one. One is more technical, as you can see, it's strategy, it's goal, about goal structure, roles, processes, working procedures, infrastructure, the machines you use in the factory itself, and resources, capacities, etc. So these are tangible aspects. You can see it. Yeah? In this room, this is socio-technical, flip chart, beamer, projector, etc. But we have also the social subsystem, which is about culture, values, the climate. So climate you can even change very fast, but the culture you can't change so fast, as you know. Motivation, and the organization and concept in the mind is more a social structure, you know, a social thing. Or the unconscious dynamics, or hope, to have hope or not hope, to be in stress or not. These are all aspects from some more social subsystem. So if you go to look at organizations and you just concentrate on these technical subsystems, you will fail. It's not enough, because an organization is a social-technical system. If you think like this, you have to consider both subsystems. Yeah? You have to consider also this, I put blue and red. In Germany, we sometimes say blue level, red level, to make it easy. Red level is like heart, blood, feelings, like this, you know. Blue level is always head, what we think, tangible, you can touch it also. So if you come in with this concept as a leader, you will lead like this. You will consider both dimensions, both levels, and you have to optimize both levels. Okay? So when we started this organizational development process, we came in with this. And we realized that there were a lot of problems on both levels. The issues were more on this. They did a survey, satisfaction survey, and we had the results, and we had to do something about it. And then we thought, what can we do? We started with a blank flip chart. Okay? With a blank flip chart. There was nothing on it. We didn't have any plans. Okay? No goals. We just started. The idea was, how can we optimize the organization? How can we optimize the organization? How can we become better? How can we improve the satisfaction survey? If people are going, how can we stop fluctuation? Wuxi, a very interesting city. A lot of 2,000 or more, meanwhile maybe 3,000 international companies. Tomorrow you can easily find a job, all of you, and you know. So how can we keep you? What can we do to keep you? It's the major question. Or what can you do to keep your people? You can't say you don't have to go. You have to let them go. If you don't want them to let them go, you have to consider both levels. To think, what are the reasons that the people are unsatisfied? What do we do? What do we have on this level that it influences a negative situation? This was 2004, when we started in China. And we ended up like this. Well, let's say this is something similar. Here you can see social subsystem, technical subsystem. We realized a lot of top managers are just looking at facts and numbers. Facts and numbers. Numbers, numbers, numbers. Target, target, target. Ratio, quality, and all these things. But then you realize, strange. We can't reach it so easily if the people are not with us. Huh? Like the case of Sandra Schreiber yesterday. And if you just focus on the social subsystem and forget the numbers, it's not enough as well. A good leader has always good numbers. If you have bad numbers and you think you are a good leader, you are wrong. So why should you be a good leader if your numbers are bad? If the quality is bad, then you have a problem. I'm a little bit provocative, you know. A good leader, this is, by the way, research. It's nothing I invented. To be a good leader, you need both satisfied people as well as good numbers, good results. Okay? So this would mean that you have to bring your organization to this field. That you have to work and think like this, not just facts and figures. If you have leaders who are just concentrating on this, you will fail. Mid-term, long-term. Maybe short-term you are successful, short-term. But as soon your people start to go out, as soon motivation decreases, you will have facts and figure problems, and result problems. I know this from my own institute. I'm not a consultant, as you know, I'm also leader of an institute with people I know. If I'm too tough to them, they don't work well. If I just say money, 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 it doesn't work. It's very, very sensitive. So 2004, when we came in, situation was like this. Most of the factories in the world are working like this. And the strategy of big companies is, if you have leaders who are just looking at this, mid-term you have to exchange these leaders. You don't keep them, because they do harm to your organization. Because they don't develop your organization. They don't develop your persons, people. By the way, in this company, we sometimes sit together and put the factories and see where are the factories. You can also look as a factory. You can say, where is Bolshevik? Where is Turkey? Where is Germany? Where is United America, States of America, etc. You can have a look overall view. You understand what I said?
You need to check with colleagues where the
Thank you very much. So,
就是他刚才讲的这个，就是这一方面，不知道大家有没有都全部理解了。就是他是在讲我们公司刚开始在2004年的时候的一个状况。他说，就说一个组织机构，它永远是两个部分，一个是技术的方面，就是说你要 KPI， 也要有目标，要有数据，你要达到什么样的目标。另外一个方面呢，它永远是软的那个部分，就是社会，就像个身体一样的，你有文化，你有激励，有员工的激励，有员工满意度等等，这个软的方面，这是永远存在的。这两个方面不能只关注一个方面，这样的话，这个公司不会运行好，永远会要关注。作为一个好的或者说一个成功的那个管理者，都要关注这两个方面。你不能永远只关注你的数据，你的业绩指标怎么样？永远你要关注人，你要关注你下面的员工，他们满意程度是怎么样？就是他从一开始，我简单的讲一下，就是说一开始就从2004年，我们可能是在更多的关注技术层面的东西，然后我们当时员工满意度也比较低啊，所以这就是它是个项目的那个主要的介入点。Okay.
So the question is, how do you bring the organization to this field? We work with 4 levers. Or 4 dimensions. One is leadership. We always try to start on the top. Because if the top is okay, top doesn't just mean general manager. It's the directors, the managers, the leaders. Because the leaders are influencing very much the culture. They are the first one who are influencing the culture. Of course, the people as well, but still. The second is participation, involvement. Do I decide just myself, or do I involve people in decision-making processes? And this is a very important intervention tool. Okay, leadership, participation, and communication. Some organizations say communication is everything. Communication, you have to talk one by one in meetings like this. Plenaries, you remember why do we do the plenaries in the orglab? It's part of communication and reflection. It's not just information. It's also dialogue. It's reflection. So, you remember we created the extended management team. It was not there in 2004. And we immediately asked for it as a tool for communication, as a tool for involvement, as a tool for general manager to bring in the strategies, to discuss the strategies with the managers who are leading the people, the employees. And then the 4th intervention was enabling or training. But it's not just training. You can also enable by coaching. You can also enable by, let's say, empowering people, giving them more possibilities to widen their responsibility field and their decision making. For 4 levels. I worked nearly 20 years as a consultant with just 3, without leadership. I just involved leadership, let's say, since 2002 or 3, because I realized we couldn't change different companies in the world without the level of leadership. You can say, but it's very simple, why didn't you think of it? Because they always gave us the assignment, we worked with them. But in a way, they said, yes, we have to change organization, culture, our people, but they were not so much involved. And this is the architecture, you have this, which came out at the end. Did we knew this before? Did we knew this? No, we didn't knew. A lot of people said, so what are you doing? Why do you come to China? What do you do with us? I said, I don't know, we have to check together. This is action research, action learning, I mean, together. This is a participative approach. We don't work like just management consultants and say, but you asked for it. When we started, your consultant in your mind was one of a technical, conceptual management consultant, coming and telling us how it works. Do you remember? Tell us how it works. Tell us what our problems are. Tell us how we go out of this. This was really struggle like this in 2004. Do you remember? I stopped the workshop. I stopped the beamer, the projector, and went out with my Chinese consultant colleague. I said, I am in the cafeteria. If you need me, call me. Otherwise, I just travel around and go back to Germany. Okay? So I stopped it, and you were shocked, and your bosses were shocked. What the hell is he doing? Because I said, I can't work like this. It was an important culture clash, so to say, for us as well as for you. You said, wow. Okay? And then we changed. Then we started, okay, to listen to each other. Maybe I was too tough that time as well. And then it was after following the interviews. First we conducted interviews, a lot of interviews with you. I even talked to the driver. He brought me to Shanghai and I said, okay, 2 hours now interview. How do you see Bolshevik? How do you see this? What do you perceive, etc., etc.? What do you think what the problems are? What is your feeling when you work with them? All these kind of questions. Remember Dr. Scher talked about organizational diagnosis, something like this we conducted here. And this is the satisfaction survey. It was very helpful to have this. We didn't run this. This was an external institute, which is very important. So there were a possibility to check how is an organization who is professional doing surveys, seeing the organization. But then they went out and we came in. You can say, why didn't they stay? Because it's always important to have also two views, different views. It's like if you do auditing, etc., the auditors doesn't optimize the organization, remember? So sometimes you need regularly audits, or you have it in your, the best would be to have it in the processes as well, of course. It's more modern quality management. To have it in the working procedures, as you know. And then this was the workshop, the critical workshop in February 2005, where we had the clash. But the clash was a very learning, it was a shock. Like the plenary maybe on Tuesday when you came in here. I mean, you know already, but the colleagues from Weiland maybe were shocked. Said, what are they doing here? Why the hell are we here? Okay. And you can see that it's always a good possibility to run workshops. You had already experience with workshops from the production system. Lean organization you had already in 2003 or something like this. And then in 2006 we did, the end of 2006 we did the organizational SWOT analysis. You know SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. This was the time when Mr. Stegmann came. We did the SWOT with the last GM and then he came and he could see what the situation is about and could decide, what do I do? Yeah? So this was the participation moment. These are the organizational reviews. So these interviews we did regularly, and this audits, you see the blue from the social technical, it's the technical subsystem. This was audited always, I don't know if they still go on. So people coming from headquarters, checking production processes, production system, etc. So it was also interesting. And that time, I think they always said, okay, it's a good thing what you do with the OD process as well. So go with it. So it was a good combination of our work. They created these symbols and graphics, etc. Then we had this enabling, the training, communication, presentation, moderation, project management. You remember you were trained, Mr. Stegmann very early said, we have to make our people fit in project management, in international project management. Because if they are together with international people from the headquarters, from mother company, I don't want my people to be just silent. I don't want that the Europeans say, why the Chinese, they don't talk. They don't ask. Can they do projects? Bless you. These were the questions. Yeah? And he, of course, said, of course they can, but they have a different culture. But we have to say to them and show them how the Western culture works, that they can play the game with the Western people. This was the challenge, by the way. Very tough challenge, of course. I remember. I challenged you very much. I said, hey, you have to speak up. You have to challenge us. You have to present. First, no one wanted to present. Remember in the workshops, little workshops we did, groupings, workout sessions, you came back and people didn't want to present. Later they wanted to present. Say, hey, let me present. So this is what works in the West. You have to show. Sometimes it's showtime, maybe like this a little bit. Yeah? We had also the leadership aspect, which is very strong. You remember we did this 180-degree, 90 feedback in the very first seminar? And we experimented a lot. I learned a lot from you as well. A lot. I always told in Germany, I said, you know, what you don't do, they do it even in China, where you say they don't give feedback, they just want to save their faces also. No, they don't want, they give feedback. I asked, for example, give feedback to Mr. Gu, and then they gave feedback to Mr. Gu. This was a learning, and step by step, we did this 360, as you remember. So we prepared you and your culture. We didn't just say, just do it as we do it in Germany. Step by step. In Germany, they said, 360 you say you did in China? Never, never, they said to me. Big companies. And I said, yes, we did. Yeah. And then we had the seminars. We worked around organization, team, role. Here in the orglab, the role you can really see as a summary, how important role is. You could think, maybe colleagues say, why the hell are they behaving like this? Özdemir doesn't give me his hand. Because I'm in my role as a director or as a consultant. So this is role. If you think in roles, it can be very helpful. I kicked out people from workshops where they didn't have a role. In another company, the CEO said to someone, an external consultant, go to the workshop of Özdemir and look what he's doing. And he was just sitting there. And I asked him, what is your role? He said, I'm here. I said, yes, but what is your role? What are you doing? Are you a member, participant? No, I don't participate. I said, okay, you don't participate. I am the consultant, so who are you? And he said, I'm here. I said, yes, but, and the people were listening, like you now. And I said, okay, but I don't accept this. Just to be here is not a role. What is this? The role has to have a meaning, a task, a primary task. And I just said to him, please call the CEO and tell what I told you. And ask him what to do. If he says, please stay, then you can stay. He did this and he said, okay, go out. Because this process, to have someone who doesn't have a role, criticize or threatens the learning of the whole system. That's why thinking in roles is important. Do it in your job too, then it will very, very be helpful. I kicked a lot of people out of workshops. Just thinking in roles. What is your role? Very simple question. And then we worked on the concept of situational leadership. You remember? Situational leadership is the most important or the most widespread style in the world. We will talk later about this. Very interesting. Very, very helpful. And very simple. Then we worked with methods, instruments, etc., management by objectives, of course. And then there was one very difficult thing. This was really difficult. You remember? The headquarter wanted you to implement the competencies. And then you said, competencies, what the hell is a competence? We don't think in China like this. Very sophisticated, what competences you should have, strategic, social, analytical skills, and book, very high sophisticated. A lot of money given to consultants in Germany to create these models, extreme models. And we had really to struggle here. But as, I don't know, who's the singer who says, I did it my way?
Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, I Did It My Way. Remember this song? I Did It My Way. I don't know the text, but so you did it your way, and we helped you by doing it. And we were afraid. We didn't know what the headquarters would think. We were really afraid, and we said, keep it for us, inform later. When we finished, we realized they started. We finished already, Bolshevik, because we were very fast. Very fast. And then we realized that you were something like a benchmark for China. Because it was 95%, Mr. Stickmann called me to Germany. And he said, you know what? 95% we do what they want, we did what they want to do. Yeah, great. He said, okay. Because they could have stopped this. They could have said, what did you do 1 year? The hell. Rubbish. They didn't. So they learned from us. They learned from you. The headquarters, can you imagine? And then they brought it back to Germany as well. The knowledge. How to implement such a thing. This was this competency model. And then we have these 3 group relations conferences. This is something like a cake, a piece of cake on the top. This is something, it was, by the way, the first time ever in China. So you took part, and now you are taking part the 3rd time in China. Because the mother organization who was running this conference is a Palestine. So, or in 2000, here we did also, where are we here? Large group interventions, open space conferences. You remember? Sitting like yesterday with 200 people, 180 people, we sat in one circle. And you said, can it work? How can you work with so many people? And we work on, that's why it is red and blue. We work on ideas, product ideas. We work on ratio. We did 3 open space conferences on product ratio. And 1 on satisfaction, how to increase satisfaction of the people. This was also very interesting. And 1 we even did with other companies, with Chuchu, with Nanjing, here. You visited each other, and it was great. You helped them. This is like Sandra Schreiber said yesterday, like Professor Schreiber said yesterday, it was not just we doing it, but we helping you. It was a top of the top. You not just did what for you, you helped the others to improve. Can you imagine? That's what you do with your quality management. With, what do you say, crucial, this concept you created. Yes, you are now something like benchmark, you won prizes. Can you imagine? It's great. This is organizational learning, this is organizational development. It's not just having a nice culture. These are facts and figures. And the Open Space Conference, by the way, it was the first time in China that you and we together introduced Open Space Conference to China. Can you imagine? Harrison Owen, the founder of Open Space Conference, we talked to each other on phone. And he said, congratulations, I wished I would be there. It was 2006. And then we ran a Future Search strategy conference. You remember? Marvin Weisbord, Sandra Janov are the creators. Unfortunately, we were just the 2nd one in China. They did it already with IKEA 1 year before. But we were the 2nd one. It's okay. It's a very complicated concept, strategy to large group intervention. These are more red things, you know, but they are also blue. You remember? Socio-technical, the technical subsystem. What you did is you introduced a new production system. I think you are still working on it. Yeah? And Mr. Wegner is now the one who's really pushing it and bringing completely new, let's say, power into this. But this is a very important level subsystem, technical subsystem. Or you optimized HR policies. You optimized wages. You compared your salaries with outside companies. This was very important. Huh? You optimize overtime policies, etc., etc. So what I want to say, just to be nice to each other, it's not enough. Huh? And you also optimize infrastructure. I know you closed, Mr. Stegmann closed the canteen for the directors. I loved this. It was a small restaurant, very special service. You remember? Ah, great. But he said, no, I don't want to have differences between blue collars and directors. Close it, something like this. And he did it. And then he put his blue color jacket on and said, let's say no ties anymore, just jacket of the blue color. We are a factory. It's a culture change from the top. I have one too at home. I sometimes, if I'm looking for China, I put it on and say, ah, nice. Yeah. These are symbols, but very, very important symbolic activities. Meeting rooms. You created meeting rooms. You created the Forum Romanum, as you call, with the pillars, where you can do these communication meetings, big meetings, plenaries. So I know it sounds like a great story, I'm sure. But that's not what I want to say. I just want to remind us and then have a look. What are the, let's say, the connections to orglab, or what do we see, what happens here, what happened in your organization? And maybe Weiland colleagues could say what is happening in your organization. Where are you in this technical and social? You remember this chart? Where are you? Where is Weiland? Where is Bolshevik now? Where is maybe Nanjing? I don't know. Yeah? Where is Chuchu? We have a lot of clients. We could put all the clients somewhere. You are really, for us, somewhere very, very top.
Maybe I just
Yes.
simple translation.
Yeah.
就是我把它的核心的意思再讲一下。他刚开始前面就讲到，他说如果要改善这个组织架构的这种氛围，首先要做的是肯定是改变，就是要对高层或者管理层做一些调整。从那个3个方面，第一个就是要对管理层进行影响，然后建立企业的文化。第2个方面呢，就是要让员工参与。让员工卷入到这个就是管理活动当中来。第3个要做交流，需要进行反馈，需要跟员工进行对话。然后他说当时我们以前是没有 EMT 这样的一个组织架构，是应该是在他来了之后，第一次来了之后就建议我们做了这个 EMT 这样的一个结构。这也就是让更多的人员参与到这个管理这个决策过程当中来，跟员工进行交流。然后接下来呢，他当然他从其他方面，从 competence 角度给我们做了很多的培训，然后接下来那个在这张架构里面呢，他主要就讲了他从2004年开始对我们所做的所有的各种活动的一个总结。从04年我印象当中应该是04年年底的时候，他对我们做了一个 interview， 就是很多员工都参与了这个 interview， 甚至他说他在去上海的路上跟司机都做了一个沟通，因为他当时带了一个中国的翻译过来的。然后在2005年的1月份，当时我记得非常清楚，因为那会儿就是我们正好有很多就是我们正好收到了很大的一个订单，然后我们当时产量都来不及。当时我印象当中门玻璃那个就是需要从法国飞过来，就是那个产量都不能完成，然后大家还要被拉出去很长时间，还有 workshop， 当时的阻力是非常大的。然后我记得他讲的，他在当时的会议当中，确实是就是把会议中断了。然后再继续进行下去，就是说当时有个很大的一个冲突啊，对管理层而言，对他的咨询而言有一个很大的冲突。然后在在2005年之后，他接着对我们做了好几次的一个组织结构的develop 的workshop。2006年 STIG 完了之后，我们做了个S， 就是 SWOT analysis 这样的一个分析。当中呢，我们做了很多技术方面的培训，比如说交流啊、参与啊、激励啊，还有项目管理啊等等这样的一些培训。 然后在那个在从2016年开始呢，我们对我们的管理层做了或者对我们领导层做了3次的那个 leadership 的 feedback 这样的培训。刚开始的180度，后来的270到360度，然后越来越多的那个就是人员参与的，特别是360度这样的反馈过程当中，就是让员工能够更多的，或者让我们的管理层能够更多的意识到我在这个企业里的角色是什么。同时呢，我们在04年到08年之间做了3次的那个员工满意度的调查，然后我印象当中刚开始是比较差的一个结果，然后随着这个就是这个 organization development 项目的一个发展呢，就是我们也知道我们现在目前的一个那个员工满意度调查，应该是在中国地区应该是比较好的一个状况。然后同时呢，他也在讲到，就是在这个，就是在我们所有做这些，他在给我们做这些一系列的活动，因为我不能讲的特别完整。同时，我们企业内部也有一种硬件方面的发展，比如说我们导入的生产系统，我们精益生产从2003年开始就开始做了。然后呢，我们有个 HR， 就是我们在这 HR 上面的一个流程优化。并且呢，我们对那个软件方面就是对我们的工资体系进行调整，那个员工的激励制度的一个那个调整，还有弹性工作时间等等这方面，我们也硬件上面也做一些调整。
Thank you. Mr. Lechenbauer, what is, when you think of your experience, your view on it, what can you say? A few sentences maybe?
For my personal, yes. At the beginning, really just working, maybe as you mentioned, maybe more technique, and also I'm maybe a little bit fresh or younger as engineers or the group leader. So through this yes, I take most of the workshop. To be honest, really we can learn about this, and also, for example, the communication. For example, presentation, and give us the confidence and give us the chance how to express our thought. And from our side, we also learning the situation leadership, what you taught us, and also I also remember that means how to organize the efficiency meeting, and also as a SWOT analysis. So maybe the one event you cannot get the full philosophy, but if you look back together, it's really for me I developed myself. This what I can say this. Also, for example, the 360 feedback. Sometimes we just focus on ourselves, but we don't know some area is blind area for us. What the leaders looks at us, what the subsidiaries, right? Subsidiaries look at what our colleagues, and also myself. These four dimensions. For example, top, down, around, and me. These 4 dimensions give the feedback. You can a little bit clear, aware about yourself, what your strengths, what your weakness, what you want to improve in the future. Not only just finish the survey about this, but also personal talking with you. But this is also kept it secret. It is up to you. You share your result to your boss, or share your result with your colleagues. But anyway, the consult who get the result summary as anonymous, something like this. But he taught to you what your result, what the other people give you the feedback. So this is also give me a big impression.
Thank you. Mr. When you came in later, what did you realize in the organization? If you compare it with other where you have been before, so what was your impression?
So maybe I can say some my experience during working in this study, because I work in this study for a long time, and during this time I play different roles. Forward I worked as a secretary of department manager. Then at that time, during that time, my role is only to I think to organize meeting and to do some administration work, and manage my managers maybe daily work time and work content. And later I transferred to the logistics department. So during that time, my role changed to be as a logistic staff. Then so that moment my responsibility is also changed. Maybe my reporting management and staff around me is also changed. And later, last I changed to a project department to be as a project until now. So my experience during this time as a change of the roles of my work. So I also thought you play which role in which period, how to suitable or how to accommodate to this circumstance. Like for example, like when you discussion or when you have meeting with some colleagues from different department, maybe even different company, maybe you sometimes you even have a conflict or quarrel. How to deal with this situation, and then how to balance it. Then maybe later you can reach the agreement. This is, I think, this is the experience you work during this period, and maybe also just like Mr. Özdemir said, for one side you should be suitable for your role, and another side you should learn, always learning. Then you can get more experience. Then maybe later to help your role in your working life. This is my work, and for job like this, because I entered into EMT maybe from 2000 to 2010. So I also face your evaluation like 360. So step by step, I learned some management knowledge. From the normal staff to some, yeah. And for my understanding of this, Mr. Özdemir speak, I think it is also the picture that our BSW's development. That because you also say some point BSW do very well, and I think also from last 5 years BSW also developed very quickly. And we also got the good achievement. So how to develop it further, and how to go to, I think is also the many people or management or many staff to think about it.
Good point. Okay, I would like to ask you to talk some minutes with your neighbors just to check. Maybe the question you also raise, what does it mean? So what does it trigger? What thoughts or feelings does it trigger what we were talking about this right now? Maybe you have also some connections to orglab here. And I would like to ask a few minutes, and then we just collect a few comments and see what you take out of it for you. Okay, just a few minutes. Can you take it? Can you just join me? So, thank you very much for bringing in your input. Yeah. So you raised a very important question, how to sustain and how to improve even. So the status where you are might not be the state where you still can go. Right?
Yeah, I think just now Mr. mentioned we already have certain achievements. So we already have certain achievements. How we can still keep or even develop in the future. So that is also touching to all of us to see.
If you look, how did you see our role? So we can really be critical. So when you over the years, what did you realize? What was helpful? What was not helpful?
Yes, for me, as I remember, first time I attended the workshop. Yes, maybe also I'm the new rule of the small department. At that moment, it really exhausted. I remember. Everything, so details, how to do and how to finish it. So, through the training or attend the workshop, what you organize, and also personal learning from the colleagues around, and also from the boss or something else, learning just how to delegate or how to focus on the important things, or how to think about it, not only just doing, as you mentioned, maybe technical issue or social issue. So then I have the capability, I have the chance to extend the responsibility. That means I can take, maybe to say is suitable or not, I can take more responsibility. I can do it better or some things. Not only in the small area, maybe the other area, I also can handle it through the development, through these tools training. Also, this is for my personal, but also from the company side, maybe I say too much. From company side, yes, how we working in this company so long time. Yes, it's not only me, but also others. I don't know that.
So what made you stay, right?
Yes, we like it. Really like a family. Really. Yes, I like working.
Staff, employees, not only management level, all people.
Also the staff level, they stay, they sleep like family, you say?
In the morning, when we get up, it's really we want to go to the company because I like it, the environment and also the colleagues. Look, I want to work with them. They are nice, and also we not only conflict, we are work together, cooperate together. If you have some problem, then talk about it, then we can work together, help you to solve it. This makes you also is not just you take the load, but also others. Then it is easy or feel happy to solve the problem for them.
I agree with Miss Lee's opinion, and I think that just like my picture I mentioned ago, I think this is not only the main level. To think about all the people of this have to be involved, because this is the direct thing is the benefit for all people in BSW. Another is I think is also maybe the benefit for our business. So we should know our real role. But the real role is marketing is not street. Yeah, marketing. So if you enter into which sphere, then you should be the right role in this sphere. This is people should think about it.
Okay, so I participate in the whole process. So my thing is I learn, I also grow. So I feel maybe more than others concerning the changes. So no problem.
Thank you very much.
你昨天跟他反映，你们俩人，我以后再 刚说的呢，他明显的感觉真的是他讲的比较那个，像那个大家讲的，虽然他讲的也很，可能也比较，因为他们辛苦的原因讲，但是讲的这个我不知道词儿发音把它理解
从喜欢看下来，他整个这个组织看下来确实是不一样的，像我们根本没有机会到学习数字的提高。
So let's see. Any thoughts, any questions, any feelings? There was one question, where is Andy? Asked if this was pre-planned also was one question. Was not. As I said, it was a blank flip chart. I didn't know anything about China. I worked in Hong Kong, etc., in Malaysia. So,
Yes.
and then you asked also a question. Can you ask the question?
Yes, so my meanings is new this planning from training BSW from 2004 to 2011, 12. So maybe I said the future, the 13 or 14 state of planning about the BSW, or you will find BSW has some management problem, or you can solve this problem.
If we have further planning, you ask?
Yes, first is further planning, and you will. So you for any planning to solve the problem. So maybe you cooperate with BSW for 80 years, and you can find some any problem in the BSW management with some formally or other problems. We can future you can find planning or find a way for training to solve the problem.
Yes. The way we work, as you remember, we were not always here. I came, I think, every maybe 8 weeks. So it was a very autonomous work. It looks very, very intense, but we were not here all the time. It is your program. We just gave impulses. We came and then we disappeared. Like Fridays, like today, I always went away. Remember? And then I even didn't call you. We didn't say, where are you now? What did you do? Action planning. You did it yourself. I never called you really. But then I came, or my colleagues, and we said, okay, where are you now? What did you do? We conducted interviews. And we realized, if we realize problems, then of course we work with you. With general manager, with the directors, with the EMT. So I think in this organizational development process, it is important that you develop your own skills as well, as you do, how you lead your teams, how you solve your problems. Maybe we were like a role model for this. But you don't have to be too much independent if you are, you don't have to be independent at all. You're too independent of outsiders. More questions or comments?
So, I left the BSW in 2006 and I was back in 2011.
Very interesting.
So that I really saw a big improvement. It's a pity for me personally that I lost this period of training, but I know that I saw the result is really amazing. So great, thank you.
It's very interesting. Yeah. How was it? And then coming back and the organization developed, and the learning, as Mr. Litchenbauer said, it's always on different levels. It's the organizational level, but it's the team level and the individual level. And this is how organizational development works. So what is organizational learning is if the individuals also develop, of course. And I remember a lot of you, or former colleagues saying, okay, shall I change also? We discussed even, shall I go, shall I stay? And sometimes I say, go. If you have a better possibility to learn, go. And then You were sometimes and then I said, should I not say this? And I talked to the general manager. He said, yes, it was okay. Because if someone is unhappy, it's better to go somewhere else to be happy. So also for the organization and for the individual. What I wanted to say is, I always said, but then you have to find the organization who is investing in you. If you find a better organization who is investing in you, then you should go. But you have to find it. So you may get more money, 10%, 15%. But if you are stuck, any more questions? Comments? Please.
What's the reason before 2004 then you do consulting to them?
Here?
Yeah. What's their problem? Or they have some?
I mean, the problem in these cases is always that something on the technical or on the social subsystem is not really working. So there are mismatches. It can be dissatisfaction of the people. It can be that people are going, not staying. If they go, you lose money because you have to hire new people, you have to train them, you have to introduce the work to them, etc., etc. You have to integrate them. It's a lot of money you lose. So most of the time, the companies have problems with fluctuation in China, so dissatisfaction, and with cultural clashes. Expatriates most of the time, at that time, didn't understood or didn't respect Chinese colleagues. So there was this culture, you know, I mean, if you think we are from the West, we are the best in the world, we know how it works, it doesn't work. You know? I always say in Germany or in Europe, you know, 5,000–6,000 years ago, we were living on the woods, in the trees in the West, and the Chinese had already civilization. We were in the woods, you know, collecting fruits or something. Yes, thank you.
Okay, can I add
yes,
something to her question? So this is also why I asked the question to Ms. Zhang Yu, former BSW colleagues, because at that moment I think it's maybe each department only working for his own.
Silos, yeah? Dr. Scher says always silos. Like here, like the system event. Yes, it was like this.
And I remember our complete incoming inspection engineer left 10. I think Ms. Zhang is one of them.
Can I say something?
Yes, of course.
You see, in my opinion, silos, the creation of these silos is a natural phenomenon. You don't have to work hard to create them. We saw it in the system event. The five systems very quickly became silos. So to make a more efficient organization, you've got to break the silos. And this architecture is all about moving across the system. Look, the lines go across for those years, but it's about integrating the different systems into one totality. I think it's now the danger of, you see, this is a very impressive picture because the architecture is very impressive. The danger of putting it on paper is that it looks like it can become institutionalized. What's the word I'm looking for? Sandra, where are you?
I'm here.
It can become rigid.
Right.
Whereas what Mr. Özdemir and Sandra yesterday were saying, you start with nothing. You don't know what it's going to look like. This gives the impression it was all known in advance, and this is how we do it now.
Yes. And the danger is, if you would take this and if you would go, what we always do, into another company, in the States or so. In 2008, I went to the United States of America for the same mother company, so to say. We had to work totally different. One could say, but this was benchmark. No, it doesn't work. We started there with 360, what we did here after 3-4 years. We started there immediately with 360. It was their culture. This was there. Awesome. Okay. We are approaching the time boundary. So we would have a break, right? Half an hour? 15 minutes or half an hour? It's a short break. We finished today early. So then we will work on situational leadership. This will help you. Thank you.
就是学术啊。